views and opinions expressed in the following program are those of the hosts and guests, and not necessarily those of the staff and management of WWDB-TV.
Where my girl got the sweetest pussy.
Welcome to SinCityBounty.com.
Oh, that's music to my ears.
Right? It's been a minute.
2 weeks and we still got it. Has it been 2 weeks? Or
It's
3
been
weeks?
2
weeks?
maybe 3. No,
I don't know.
I think just 2.
It's been some fucking time.
Yeah.
Sarah's been gone for a minute.
Well,
I've been
we
gone.
did 2 on our own.
Yes.
Yes.
We did amazing, by the way.
Unfortunately, every time the show was going on, I was with family, so
That's okay.
that was not going to happen.
That's okay.
Like I was with like.
I assume
Sarah
you would
was
hold up the family time
Yeah.
and be like, listen, it's show. Why is Siri talking to me?
All right. So, what do we want to start with? You've been gone for 2 weeks.
I've been gone for 2 weeks. I drove me and my 13-year-old son to Washington, D.C. and back again, and we took 2 different routes. Different route home from the one we took back. So we ended up adding 12 states to our 50-state journey. My son decided a couple years ago he wants to see all 50 states before he graduates high school. We are almost halfway there.
Nice.
Next summer will put us halfway there because we're going to be driving to Alaska next summer.
You're going to catch like 3 states.
That'll put us at half because we're already over 20. We're at like 21 or 22. So we're going to get Washington, Oregon, and Alaska next summer, and Canada.
Can't you like drive through the corner of Idaho? Oh, no, we've been to Idaho. Oh,
We've
no,
been to
he
Idaho.
hasn't been to Idaho.
Yeah, he was with us on that.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
That was the whole point of going, was to take him to go see the full fucking eclipse.
That's right.
He's seen it. He was over it. So it was insane. I got delayed so often on the trip out there that I was driving 10 and 14-hour days to catch up to my schedule, right?
Delayed how?
Well,
Like you find a bar in the middle of the desert?
Right,
and
that's how
stop?
I'd be delayed.
no, so the first time, I was supposed to get out of work at noon, and I didn't get out until 2:30, which was technically still early, but that already put me 2.5 hours behind schedule. And so we didn't get on the road until like 4 o'clock. And I was supposed to drive 9 hours. Actually, I wanted to do 10 hours the first day. But I didn't even get that. Like, I got so tired, I was like, fuck it, we're just going to pull over. Now, my original plan was I would be staying at KOA campgrounds, in between staying at family or staying in D.C. But the first night, I didn't have reservations because I had changed plans. I was going to be staying at a truck stop that allows overnighting that's got sort of a campground feel, but I didn't.
Truck stops sound the safest bet there.
Actually, they are.
They're not. That's where people get murdered.
That actually
Only
people
in
get.
movies.
Oh, yeah.
No.
You watching
Truck
the
stop?
Hitcher?
No. Truck stops are for hookers, hand jobs, and death. I don't
So,
know what you're talking
I
about.
did not make it to my truck stop the first night.
And that's why you're here to tell us about it.
So I spent the night in a rest area instead.
Oh, God.
I built window panels to put up in my van so that people couldn't see in because I knew we would be staying.
But then you can't see out.
Well, that's true, but you know me, I have stabbies, and I'm able to defend myself. So we were fine. So we spent the night in the rest area, and it was free, and it was nice, and it was quiet. And so literally, if we weren't staying at families or at the campground in D.C. that I had reserved already, we basically stayed in rest stops. Because we pulled in late, I would sleep for 5 to 6 hours, get up, and drive out. And it was free. There was bathrooms nearby, except for the one in Denver. That kind of sucked. It was free. There was restrooms nearby. And in a couple of them, if we needed to take a shower, we could take a shower.
I'm so appalled that you slept at rest stops. Like, I am glad I didn't know about this ahead of time because I would probably be FaceTiming you every night. Like, just leave your phone on. Oh, sorry, I'm writing on you. Like, just leave your phone on so I know you're not dead. And I
Yeah,
would sit
so-
there and watch the video.
We got so used to it that by the time we were headed home, it did not faze us at all. We had it down to a science where we could get parked get all of the things rearranged, get the air mattress blown up, and we could be asleep in 5 minutes. So, I mean, we became ninjas at that shit. It was a shit ton of fun.
Wait, so you didn't even take turns staying awake again so you don't die?
No, I have weapons.
But weapons do you nothing if you're in the vehicle. If you're sleeping and someone flings it open and they stab you.
Well, they'd have
you're
to
gonna
be able to first unlock the doors.
Yes.
Because the doors were locked while we were sleeping in the car.
Okay, so
that
they
would be
picked
like
the
he's
lock.
smashing in windows, or
They smash in the window, they wake me up, they get a very large knife in their eye. Because they're coming in face first, I'm coming at them point first. It's going to be, I was fine. Seriously, I'm the one you're going to follow into the apocalypse. Do you think I'm going to let someone kill me
Yes,
in a
but
rest
that's
area?
the apocalypse. Like, that's the apocalypse. Like, that's a no-choice scenario. This is like voluntarily sleeping at rest stops. Which is, again, where people get murdered. Don't you ever see random shoes at rest stops?
No.
On the side?
movies. That's in movies.
No, I go to rest stops. Like, you see random shoes, it's from people who were taken and
are
are
likely
dead.
to be murdered at the Walmart parking lot.
Yeah. The Walmart parking lot, you're a lot more. So I did a lot of research on where to stay and where to sleep on the way out before we did this. We've been planning this trip for 2 years. Well, yes, Cracker Barrels, but there's not always a Cracker Barrel nearby. And the way my driving system ended up working is that I ended up driving way, way more in a single day than I expected to on any given day, except when I was with family or in DC. All of our travel time, I was the only driver. My son's 13, he can't drive. There's nobody else was going with us. So I ended up doing between 10 and 14 hours, except for that first night, between 10 and 14 hours a day, just depending, just trying to catch up.
Did you
on the way out there.
enjoy the driving?
I did. I hurt quite a bit, and I think I've done something to one of my hips, but I enjoyed the driving quite a bit. One of the things that makes it enjoyable is my family's never done long-distance road trips without a CB. Now, we've done, like, close road trips. Like, the one that we did was, like, 12 hours. It's not a big deal. But when you're going to be on the road for multiple days, it would be best for you to get a CB. And I'm going to tell you right now, don't buy the cheap Uniden CB, because you still have to buy a bunch of other stuff to make it work. They make handheld CBs for the same price as what I ended up paying for the whole CB system that I bought. I should have done that instead. But I had a CB, which meant I could communicate with truck drivers.
I tried doing that and no one answered.
Were you on Channel 19?
I don't know, I was in your car.
Oh, well, we weren't on Channel 19 at that point, I don't think. But anyway, so Channel 19 is the trucker channel, and if there's a slowdown or there's an accident, they'll get on and tell you about it. My son and I got caught in eastern Arkansas and western Tennessee in that giant storm that went through 2 weeks ago. We got caught in the middle of that on the highway. At one point, we had pulled over for lunch, and then the heavens opened upon us, and we just couldn't see out the windows. Like, but luckily, we'd gotten back into the car before it started raining.
Found a rest stop.
At a rest stop. Trees had fallen
You
down.
should see the daggers coming out of her eyes at
You know.
me.
We rested at a rest stop. Go fucking figure. So
Next year I need a full itinerary, and I'm just gonna hook
You don't want to know. Don't tell her anything.
I'm just gonna
I'm gonna
GPS
take.
you.
You know what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take
Jesus.
fake selfies at KOA entrances, click, and send them to her. And you know, I was so intent on actually using KOAs that I signed up for a KOA membership, and I didn't use a single one.
You didn't even stay at 1 KOA?
No, I did not.
And she never pooped outside.
And I didn't poop once outside.
Why was the trip, was it worth it?
It was
I mean,
totally
no
worth it.
KOAs and no
She
shitting
went to
outside.
Washington, D.C.
Went to Washington, D.C. for the first time ever in my entire life.
But
I'm
she
almost
didn't
40
shit
years old.
outside.
I can go poop out in the courtyard right now. If it
You
makes me
have.
happy.
But I just expected you to come back with like this amazing
Wicked
story
Sender.
about a story about a snake biting your ass, and then it,
She's more comfortable with me
shenanigans
being
ensued.
Bit by snakes on the ass,
Yes.
but not sleeping in a well-lit, comfortable rest area.
Yes.
You need to stop watching NCIS.
Yeah.
I don't watch NCIS. I watch Law and Order SVU.
Oh, definitely. You need to stop watching that.
That is how you die, Sierra. That is how you
What's
die.
the best place in the world to poop outside, right?
Did you get a tour of the White House?
Oh, Washington, D.C. No. Did I tell you the story about the tour?
Yes.
Yeah,
You
so
were
no.
waiting to hear
I
back.
was on the waiting list. I never made it on the waiting list, which was fine by me because ultimately we did way more than we expected to and far less than we wanted to. And I got to see the Lincoln Memorial. The Lincoln Memorial. Let me tell you something. One thing I wanted to do in D.C. was go to the Lincoln Memorial. Do you know what photo I wanted? I wanted that photo of the reflecting pool in front of the Lincoln Memorial, straight down with the Lincoln Memorial in front of it. Just a straight shot, maybe some people milling around in the background. Do you know what was going on while I was in Washington, D.C.?
Protest?
Pride
Yes. So, no. First, the reflecting pool had been drained for cleaning and maintenance. No reflecting pool photo. I mean, I took a photo of it, but
Parade. I can get you one on Google. Like, you've seen it.
I wanted
you
for
know
my
it's
own.
been-
Selfie
Why?
with the
But why?
background.
yeah, a picture of me in the background, reflecting pool, fucking greatest president who ever lived in the background.
Yeah.
Come on. So anyway,
Take a picture in front of the green screen.
yeah, and you'll do it
Yeah.
for me. Thanks, Johnny. So, and on top of that, we get to where we can see the front of Lincoln Memorial, and all I can see is all these blue and yellow flags.
No.
All these blue and yellow flags, and I can hear what, to my very uncultured ear, sounds like the call to prayer, the Islamic call to prayer. And I'm like, okay, well, maybe there's like some, Muslims aren't terrible thing going on in D.C. right now, which kind of makes sort of sense. I mean, that's the kind of protest I'd go to. So we get to the Lincoln Memorial. By the way, we walked from essentially the Capitol building to Lincoln Memorial. That's a long fucking walk. I did 15,000 steps that day. Ugh. Don't do that. Rent the little fucking scooters. Pay the money, rent the scooters, buy the first two you see. Doesn't matter if they match, because you'll never find two that match again. Just fucking download all 55 apps for the little electric scooters. Anyway, so we get to the Lincoln Memorial, and it's not an Islam thing. It's a Punjab thing. So the Khalistan, just Google it, Khalistan, Punjab. There was this big protest thing going on about the Punjabi people creating their own state. It's been something they've been trying to do for like 30 years, I guess, or whatever. And it was really interesting to sit, because we sat, because by that point we needed to sit and listen to them talk. And they had some Washington dude talking, like a white dude, talking about, the people's freedom to do whatever they wanted to do. And it was clearly wasn't somebody from Trump's party. But
Did you see Sarah Sanders? Like, that's all that
I want to hear about
matters.
the Lincoln Memorial.
It was fabulous. I wish I'm all about people protesting for their rights and their freedoms to create whatever state it is they want to do. But I did some Googling on it and kind of up in the air about the Khalistan thing. I wish they'd hadn't been there when I went, or that we'd come back done it the second day like we'd originally planned instead of the first day, because the Lincoln Memorial is this gorgeous thing. It's fucking beautiful. We've already been to Gettysburg and seen all the Lincoln stuff in Gettysburg, and so we were both super excited to see the Lincoln Memorial. There's big signs all over it that say, please be quiet, this is a reverend space, but it was not, because there was a protest going out literally on the steps of the Lincoln Memorial.
Were you able to go and touch the memorial?
No, you can't go up and touch the memorial, but you can get inside and you can get super close. I have a selfie of me and the boy, there with Lincoln, and
We can see up his nose or something?
yeah, something like that. So, I mean, we did.
They don't let you sit on his lap, no matter how nicely you ask.
Nope, they don't. And they're little. We have this thing where every national site we go to, or every museum we go to, we get a magnet from there, and it goes on our fridge. And I literally had to move like a half a fridge of magnets to add all the magnets we got from this trip on there. And so we went into they have a tiny little, they call it a bookstore, but it's a, buy shit to memorialize your thing store, tchotchke store, whatever you want to call it. There's no air conditioning in there.
It's a gift shop.
Yeah. So there's no air conditioning in this little gift shop, because the Lincoln Memorial was not built to have air conditioning in it. And this gift shop is literally like a little lean-to shanty shack built in the corner of the Lincoln Memorial. So they have like these two giant fans blowing inside, because there's hundreds. I thought I'd missed it. I really thought I did. I thought we'd missed it by a week, but we did not miss 8th grade week in Washington, D.C. Every museum, every memorial, everywhere we went, there's 15 to 75 kids wearing the same shirt from the same school saying, 8th grade, Washington, D.C., 2019. And every boy, that is my son's age does not know how to put on deodorant. The National Air and Space Museum was like walking through a fog of 13-year-old funk the whole fucking way. I'm like, did teachers not bring Axe to just spray on your asses as you got off the fucking bus? None of them. Fucking gross. I would walk, there'd be like 4 kids, they'd walk in front of me, and I'd be like, good, I gotta go that way. And then walk, because if you breathed after them, it was like onions and foot cheese. It was fucking gross. And so I made my son put on deodorant like 45 times a day because we were locked in a car together for 10 to 14 hours most days. There was the first day, I made him pull out the one that was in the van. I keep one in the van for him. I forgot it had gotten a little warm, so he went to put it on and it just washed the whole brick against
you
it.
have to listen as the
gel.
parent of a teenager. You have to keep one in your purse for them.
Yeah,
It just has to stay in your purse. We have deodorants everywhere. Backpack, soccer bag, and I used to keep it in the center console, but when it gets warm,
It turns
gets
into
gooey,
goo.
so you have to keep it in
I
your purse.
thought going with a solid would make it a little bit better in the car, but it does
nope,
not.
it'll still smush the shit out of it.
Roll on, right?
Yeah.
It'll become.
roll-on would probably be a
No,
good
I think
idea.
that would leak out.
Maybe.
Only if you got it upside down.
I don't
I
know.
don't know. But anyway, so, and you can't keep an aerosol can in your car in Vegas. That's how you get an exploded dashboard.
Right.
It was insanely great. It was wonderful. We saw so many things. We did so many things. And we did this on a budget, by the way. I did this whole trip. The whole thing cost me less than $2,000 to get out there and back, including our food, including our lodgings, gas, the whole 9 yards. It was less than $2,000 to get out there and back. And I learned 2 very crucial things. 1, you cannot take a multi-tool into the National Air and Space Museum. 2, you can take a multi-tool into the Natural History Museum. Apparently, Natural History doesn't give a shit, which is how our itinerary got all fucked up, because we're backpackers, we're hikers, and I keep a multi-tool in the backpack that we just throw everything in and go on. And I forgot about it. And then we get there, and they have TSA basically bringing you into the National Air and Space Museum. They're like, oh, you can't have this, but there's lockers over at the Natural History Museum. If you go there, you can probably leave it in a locker, and then blah, blah, blah. And I was like, okay, well, that was on our itinerary anyway. We just swapped things out, and that's how our itinerary got
Well, it's
fucked up.
because with a multi-tool, you can actually steal a space shuttle.
Listen, I don't know how close you people think you can get to these things, but you cannot touch
Was
these.
cavity search an option?
I wish.
Could you have
It would have
requested?
made my trip to the National Air and Space Museum a little bit more exciting to know I could come and go and get a body cavity search.
Yes.
Because otherwise, I was just sitting in a miasma of boy. It was so gross. But we had a blast. On the way there, we got to see family in Arkansas. On the way back, we got to see family in Pennsylvania. We used to be part of a women's group on Facebook, an enormous, like 5,000 people big women's group. And I made fairly decent online friends with one of the girls in there. And I was driving through St. Louis on this trip on the way home. And I was like, I am going to be in your city. Let's meet up for dinner. And so we met up for dinner at a board game restaurant, cafe thing. And it was fucking amazing. We played a game that the boy and I now want to go get. Oh, unknown error occurred. Cannot play your video. Sorry, guys. I'm not monitoring the video anymore. It was just fucking fantastic. She was funny as hell, and we had a lot of good time, and we played a good game. And then I made it home a day early because I got so used to driving 10 to 14-hour days on the first leg that I just did 10 to 14-hour days on the way home and literally got home an entire day early. Not an entire day early, like an entire day and a half early. I was home in the afternoon instead of the late evening the next day. Let me tell you how my last day of driving went, because this was insane. We stopped at a rest area just outside of Denver, where it was 37 degrees outside, snow on the ground, no toilet access because an avalanche had gone through that place earlier and wiped out the stairs to get from where you can park to where you can pee. You could drive down to where you could pee, but you couldn't walk down. So I have diabetes and have to piss in the middle of the night like twice. So this night, I didn't drink anything before bed. I only had to get up once. I had to squat behind the van and pee in the parking
Oh,
lot.
so she did pee
It's
outside.
close
I
enough.
peed outside. And then my son gets up the next morning and he's like, "Where's the bathroom?" I'm like, "You got to walk all the way out and around and down, and I'm not driving down there. Once we get in, we're going." So he walked down behind a bush and he peed, and he comes back and goes, "Mom." I said, "What?" He goes, "My pee steamed." I'm like, "Yeah, it's like 37 degrees outside, dude."
This was like 4 days ago, right?
Yes, like 4 days ago. Thursday of last week, yeah. And he's like, "My pee steamed." And I'm like, "Yeah, it's like 37 degrees outside." So you all know my son was born and raised here in Las Vegas, Nevada. He sees snow like once a year, maybe.
Maybe. If we go to the mountains.
If we go to the mountains. So we got in the van. We stopped for lunch, still in Colorado, so it was still pretty cool outside when we stopped for lunch. But we didn't stop again until we got to St. George, Utah for dinner. So we stopped at St. George for dinner. So I literally hadn't been out of the car since Denver. I opened the car door, and it was like I got walked into a fucking blast furnace. I went from 37-degree weather in the morning to 106 degrees at 3 o'clock in the fucking afternoon.
Did you eat at Cracker Barrel?
No, we did not eat at Cracker Barrel. I got 2 Cracker Barrels here. I did eat at the Big Texan.
I'm not a fan of the Cracker
What? Yeah,
Barrel.
but what else? You said St. George, right?
Yeah, no,
That's about it.
we ate at Black Bear Diner in St. George.
I didn't even know that was there. I
Yeah.
just
And
know
they're
Cracker Barrel.
actually, we have 2 Black Bear Diners here in Vegas, and they're kind of small and chintzy. The Black Bear Diner in St. George, Utah is fucking huge and gorgeous. Like, fucking beautiful.
It's like Black Bear territory, right?
No, Black Bear Diner started in like Northern California or some shit. So, but I don't fucking know why this place was as big as it was. Like they had
Barrel ain't all that.
a goddamn party room.
I like it.
Cracker Barrel has fried okra.
I like it because I didn't grow up with a Cracker Barrel. Like, I think there's some nearby now.
I don't understand the draw of certain places. Like at there's Cracker Barrel. They put a couple here in Vegas.
Yeah.
Got
we-
one on
There's
each
down
end.
yeah, there's one on Craig, and every time I drive by, there is a line out the
There
door.
is, but you just put your name on the app now. I mean, I go there like once a year. It's
Think
not
about
a
the
huge
name.
thing.
Cracker Barrel. It's full of white
think?
people. It really is.
Oh, no,
full
it
of
is. It's all white people. It's
know what I go
literally
for?
all white people.
I go for the candy. They have a little
We
country store
love
in the
that,
front. The little
yeah.
country store in the front.
Yeah,
You don't
the
have to
country
stand in
store's the
line for that.
best.
But they have some of the best, like old-fashioned candies and just a selection of stuff.
When
It's just great.
when my daughter was little, so I've bought my mom, because some of their stuff is like stuff we had growing up, like the Charlie's chips in a can, which I've bought for my mom before, and like a lot of little candies that my mom likes. And when my daughter was little, we used to buy a lot of the games, the little books that, the little activity books that are there, like they were her special treat from there.
I've eaten at one in Kingman, I think it was.
Right.
It just wasn't all
I've been
that.
there multiple times in
I know,
Kingman.
just like Chick-fil-A. I mean, the line is out the door. The drive-through line is down the block.
Same clientele.
In-N-Out
Yeah.
Burger, same thing. I don't
That's
understand
different,
the draw
but
of those things.
Cracker Barrel and Chick-fil-A,
Yeah.
pretty much the same.
No
people
Cracker
go
Barrel.
to
We
those.
did stop at the Big Texan. That's the thing I do. So I take the same route to Arkansas. I could probably drive it with my fucking eyes closed at this point because I've driven it back and forth a bazillion times. But for whatever reason, Amarillo is in the perfect spot and the Big Texan is in the perfect place that it's always there for either lunch or dinner. And so we always stop there for either lunch or dinner. I've got 867 of the little white plastic cups that they send you home with, about the story about the little 110-pound housewife who's eaten 2 of those 72-ounce steaks in less than 5 minutes or some crazy-ass bullshit. Anyway, it's a great place. If you're ever in Amarillo and you want a good place to eat that isn't Cracker Barrel, go to the Big Texan because they've got live music and there's usually some fat white boy up on the stage trying to eat that fucking steak and he can't even get through the potato. And then their food is good. They used to have this great like 3-piece barbecue thing you could get, but they didn't have it on the menu this time. It's a little sad about that. But they carry Buffalo Burger and that's delicious.
I had buffalo chili in Sedona, Arizona, where I learned that I don't like hiking because that's all there is to do in Sedona.
Right. I had buffalo in years and years ago when I was married. We went camping at Zion in a big luxury cabin that had like
A
this
kitchen and a
luxury
bathroom and a
yeah,
flushing
all of it,
toilet.
and a luxury shower, and it had a big tub that did jet spas. And so like I remember my daughter was little, we brought bubble bath and brought our swimsuits, and we kept, it was snowing out, but we kept just going in the little jet, the jet thing, and it had satellite TV, and
Camping.
Like everything you can imagine was in that super gorgeous cabin. But at one point we went and ate in the restaurant that was at the campsite. And they had...
You mean at the hotel?
No, they were separate cabins.
Still a hotel.
And so we got the buffalo burger to give it a try.
Holiday Inn.
I didn't find it as flavorful.
It depends. I've had buffalo that is gorgeous and delicious and juicy and fatty and rich, and then I've had buffalo that just tastes like beef. So I think it depends on which farm they get it
Probably.
from.
My chili was good.
I like ostrich too. Ostrich is good.
I don't think I've had ostrich yet.
Ostrich is good. There's a place that usually comes to like the Ren fairs and stuff. They have like ostrich burgers and shit. Pretty good.
Aw.
Well, we had a blast.
And then
We
as
enjoyed
soon as you
driving.
got back, you turned around and went.
I sure did, and I actually had a whole like day to rest because I wasn't expecting to be home that early. But yes, I turned right the fuck around. I switched out a few things in my camping kit and went to Steph Hoop's wedding in California. This beautiful campground, tabletop mountain campground. It's gorgeous. It's like $23 a night to stay there. It's an extra $8 for 2 cars. An extra $8 a night for 2 cars. If you're gonna have 2 cars parked there, but it was gorgeous. They had
Why
bathrooms.
would you bring 2 cars? Like a spare?
Your friend.
Yeah. So
Meet
for
my friends
instance,
there.
me and my partners camped together. So we had 2 cars in our spot. So I had to pay the original $23 fee. I didn't have to. Steph provided camping spaces for everyone, but I hate people. So I bought a camping space close to the thing, but far enough away that people wouldn't just randomly wander into my camp, because I hate that. And because I know that over there, because she bought this huge communal area, or she rented this huge communal area, and everybody just kind of wandering around up there. It was very disconcerting.
I would have done
And-
the same. I would have totally rented a site away from everyone, except the site I would have rented would have been a hotel. So
There was a lot of people
I
who
would
stayed
have-
in an Airbnb and that drove in. But number one, I knew I was going to get high. And number two, I like to camp. And I don't know. I don't think I got a picture of my camp kitchen. You've never actually camped with me.
Yeah, you need to go with her on one trip.
we
you
were
camp.
tempted because she was going to go camping and then I was going to go, and then we ended up in a house with satellite TV, running water, a full kitchen,
In a hot tub, yeah. Because
A hot
sometimes
tub.
when I camp like she does.
and it was like the perfect camping because the town didn't have a 7-Eleven, so it felt like it was.
But there were
was
2
just
family
really-
dollars. I'm just going to tell you. There
It
were
felt
2
like it was
family dollars.
roughing it, you know. So I couldn't get a
We,
Slurpee, no fat cups. So anyway, and then I wondered how I would have ever survived in actual camping, especially because just to get really super gross for a moment, I had product that needed to be flushed in the toilet, but you can't flush it in the toilet there.
Because we're on a septic
So
system
because
out
it's a
there.
septic, so I was like saving product in baggies, and all I kept thinking is thank God I didn't go camping, because now I'd be in the woods.
It would be
dealing
the
with
exact
this
same
issue.
situation. It would be, but
Yeah, except I'd be squatting, changing a tampon in the middle of the woods. Who wants to do that?
I would have brought you a toilet seat.
And what? What do you do? Put on
She-
a bucket?
I'm gonna tell you, I went with her to go see the eclipse. I did not know what to expect. I was treated like a goddamn queen. I didn't have to do shit. She even made coffee for me every morning.
In a drip coffee maker, but I did have power at that
Yes.
campsite. That's true.
You have to just once go with her somewhere.
Oh, you know what I made her for dinner? I made her Greek seasoned chicken with steamed broccoli for dinner.
Yes. It was amazing.
In the
I felt
camp?
like
Like,
I felt
in the
like a
woods?
queen.
Yeah.
I would assume you'd eat those little, I don't know, bring some extra Burger King or eat those little packages
No,
you
I
get at a
cook
camping
full
store.
meals. I have a full big ass camp kitchen. I'm going camping again this weekend, and I'm going to set up the kitchen because when I'm going to be in one place for 2 or 3 days without moving my vehicle, I'll bring a whole camp kitchen. But in DC, we move the vehicle every day, so because we drove to Metro station and then take the Metro into town. So I didn't take the camp kitchen to DC, but I did take it to the wedding because I knew I was going to be in the same place for 3 days, and we are going to have to cook breakfast, lunch, and dinner for at least 2 days.
Your partners must have fell more in love with you.
Well, I mean, we had 2 queen-size beds in the tent, and I essentially got a whole queen-size bed to myself because they're so used to sleeping with themselves that they basically kept to one bed. So I got my bed all to myself. It was
So you starfished the fuck out.
I sure
How
did.
big is your tent that you could put 2 queen beds in there?
It was it was their tent. They didn't use my tent. My tent's even bigger than
It was a
theirs.
hotel. You're fucking joking. It was a
No.
hotel.
No, it was a tent. It was a big 10 by 10 tent, and 2 queens will sit side by side, 10 by 10. And we had enough space in the front to stand up and change and stuff like that. My tent is even bigger, and the next time we go camping, we'll be taking my tent because we want to see if we want a bigger tent. Caesar wants to know if he can invest in a bigger tent for us, or I was like, don't do that now. Like, just see if my tent's big enough, and then you'll know what size you want.
When I used to camp many years ago, and I loved the big giant tents because I had a bed in there, I had a table and chair in there, a fucking dresser in there to hold the clothes.
Yeah,
and
that's
then
how I camp usually
I had
too.
patio kit. I mean,
Yeah, my tent's a 2-room tent with a patio.
yeah.
We people. My ex-husband used to be really huge on always wanting to go camping. Like, we owned every piece of camping equipment there was to own. Like, but his thing was just collecting camping equipment, not actually using it. And so, coincidentally, he's going this weekend and actually camping somewhere. And I'm like, what, in a cabin? And he's like, no, in a tent. And I'm like a tent, like one of the 12 you've bought back when we were married and just put in the garage, one of those.
I mean, I have 3 tents in my
So-
garage.
At
Well-
least he used them though. My stepdad bought $1,500 in camping gear. Took my mom
He didn't
camping.
use them.
No, he took my mom camping. They camped for half a day, and she made him
And that
come
was
home.
it. Well,
She was
I'm
done.
I'll be interested to know if he lasts the whole weekend, because as much as he likes to pretend like he's rough and tough, and the only advantage he has is he will piss or shit anywhere.
I will too.
That's a dude thing,
But
though, kind of.
well, it's also a dude thing when you work in remote locations with a service truck and you got to work it out. But
Yeah, I'll piss and shit just about anywhere.
yeah, so we'll see if he lasts. But I just feel relieved knowing that all of that camping equipment that was purchased over the years
Is it being used
now
now?
might
being
actually
used.
be used.
That's cool.
So.
That's cool. Anything else you want to add about your 2 weeks? You only had 2 weeks. Do you plan on doing longer to go to Alaska, or is it going to
No.
be 2 weeks again?
Actually, Alaska will probably only need to be a week because we're probably just going to go to see some stuff for a day and come back. And Alaska's only like a 2-day drive, so we can do Alaska in a week.
But you get to get your passport.
Yeah, we got to get. I talked to his dad because his dad and I aren't married or together or anything. So, but the two of us have to be. We both have to sign off
You
on his
do.
passport because he's under 18. And his mom, his grandmother on his dad's side, goes to Europe once a year, and has expressed an interest in taking him. And I'm like, fuck yeah! And once he has his passport, like hell yeah, he can go. And I'll be like, wait a minute. If I buy my ticket, can I tag along? I mean, I'm gonna have to hit up a Christian metal rock festival, but I mean, I'm down for that. Christian thrash metal is apparently a big deal, and there's a yearly event that happens in Europe somewhere, Norway,
that's where she's
Sweden.
going?
That's where she goes every year.
No, wow.
She is apparently one of the biggest names. She was the first online radio station for Christian metal, and so she's like kind of a big deal.
I remember Stryper. I loved Stryper back in the day.
There are so many. And it's crazy. If you Google Christian thrash metal, it's the most insane thing because it sounds like thrash metal, but it's like, Jesus is the king and he loves you so. Blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, oh my God. I don't know how to feel about this. I love thrash metal, but God, Jesus is king and he loves you so. You know, like, the devil's going to take your soul. And I'm like, through this music. This is the music that brings the devil, not fucking Slayer or anybody else like that. It's this shit. But she's kind of a big deal, so she goes every year, and she's got a lot of friends over there and stuff. So James my son's father has gone, not that you know his name, and
We do now.
we've both been like, it would be cool if my son wants to go and his grandmother wants to take
Do you remember how this show works?
What?
We don't use our real names
I
for safety
can't
reasons. Do you remember?
No.
Have you been here before?
No, it's my first time on. Anyway, I've taken up half the show with my 2-week vacation.
Yeah, I know. It's okay. I know a couple of other ladies that are on vacation, and they're gone for a whole month. That's why I was wondering if you're going to take
Who
longer.
gets to take that long on vacation?
Do you want to know what I came back to? After just 2 weeks of being gone and having prepared my entire office for 6 months for this trip. 6 months I prepared people for this. I came back to more than 800 emails in my 3 inboxes. And immediately a stack of papers on my desk going, okay, well, we didn't get to this, and we need to do this, and we don't know how to do this, we don't know how to do this, and this, and this, and this. And then I spent the entire second half of my day back running around doing all the shit that they didn't do while I was gone. Like, out of the office doing things. They have been out of water in the office for a week because nobody wanted to do a water run. They've had no filtered water to go into a bottle onto the thing for a week because nobody wanted to do a water run.
My question here is do you not get your work emails on your phone?
I turned my notifications off. I turned my work notifications off, and I'll tell you, I took a phone call or a text message every single day I was on vacation for work.
I don't get work emails on my phone. I should, but I don't. I want to, but I can't.
So all of this is very strange to me.
I do get work emails on my phone. But
I was on my way driving into and pulling into my own brother's wedding, and I had work calls
I was the same. I was
going
taking
on.
calls and text messages. I even had to argue with the landlord for the frozen yogurt shop that I work with because they're like, well, you're going to need to pay $600. And I'm like, you need to provide proof that we did that because you're telling me that this thing hasn't worked since before we moved in, and now you're telling me it's our fault it doesn't work? Nah, that's not how this works, motherfucker. And then they sent an email to my bosses excluding me, didn't call me back like they were supposed to, and got my bosses to pay the fucking bill. I was like, you fucking bitch. I was so livid. I sent a pretty nasty email when I got back to work. But anyway.
It shows you're indispensable.
Yes, like I said, I took a phone call or a text message every day for one of my jobs. Every day. While I was on vacation. I don't want to bother you on vacation.
Then don't.
Then don't. That's literally how every single conversation opened. I don't want to bother you while you're on vacation.
The lady that I work for, she goes, not often, but every couple of months she takes like a stretch of a week off or a few days off. And she puts on the little form that she's not going to be answering emails, and she always sets her responder up.
I set mine up too.
Do you?
Yeah. I had my email. That's why I had 800 emails when I got back, because I wasn't reading them or responding to them. I set them up. I
think they send it once and they get the response. They don't send it again.
Well,
they don't. The response only happens one time. It won't happen every time that same person sends the email.
But I'm on multiple email lists for my office because I don't just handle one thing there. So anytime something comes into a particular department, I get CC'd on it. So a lot of it was conversations that people were having that I was CC'd on. And I'm a little jaded because I told my backup, CC me on every email you send, every purchase order you send, everything, because when I get back, I'm going to have to answer questions for shit you did when I was gone, and I need to be able to reference it. Did she do that once? No.
Ooh.
So I have spent 2 days trying to catch the fuck up on what the fuck's been going on. Because everybody's
one
like,
email
well, we
you
ordered
needed.
these things while you're gone. And I'm like, and I know nothing about it. I mean, I have the purchase order, but I don't have the email to who it was sent to. I don't know who has it. I don't know the status of it. So my boss told me today, I need an update on all the POs from the last 2 weeks. And I'm like, I'm already working on that. Like, I'll have a report for you by Friday on what the status is on everything.
As much as you had to weed through 800 emails,
I crushed them in
catch
an
up
hour and
on
a half.
stuff, didn't it just make you feel good, though, that you were that missed? No?
Yes, but see, the point of having a backup is that they should be able to do this for you. And so that when you come in, they're just like, all right, well, everything's good. Instead of me coming in and everybody looking like a fucking bomb exploded and be like, we have no fucking idea what's going on. And also, we've ruined some things. It was like walking into a room full of toddlers. They were just like, I think I shit myself. I'm like, clearly, I have a week's worth of cleaning to do. Anyway, it's nice to know to come back and everybody's like, we're so glad you're back. Here's all of this. Like, literally, my backup handed me a stack of papers this big. It was like, I'm so glad you're back. I get in at 7 a.m. At 7:01, she was like, here you go. Jesus, tunk. She's like, that's just what we received in. I'm like,
Wow.
alrighty. Yeah, they put her through the ringer. She was like, I had to do a particular supplier of ours, which their ordering process is super complicated. And she was like, I had to go look up the last one you did. It was 4 times longer than what I did. How did you do that? It took me a whole day. I was like, I did that. That took me 2 hours, baby. Practice. It is not easy. Anyway, vacation's over.
Yep.
Back to work. It doesn't feel like I was gone for a single day.
Except you got to see the Lincoln Memorial,
I did. I got to see a bunch
the
of shit.
Washington Monument, an
I got-
empty reflecting pool.
An empty reflecting pool. I got high as fuck and danced around. Well, I don't remember if I danced much. I probably mostly sat in a chair and did like a lot of this. There's a
But
couple
you
of
thought
pictures-
you were dancing.
There's a couple of pictures of me, and I didn't realize, like, I was dressed comfortably, and there's a couple of pictures of me from the wedding that I have seen, and I look like somebody's grandmother. It's like, why did no one tell me I looked like a grandmother? I'm super kind of mad at both of my partners, because it's like, do I look okay? I feel like I don't fit in. They're like, you look fine. I'm like, I look like somebody's grandmother.
When you saw the pictures afterwards, yeah.
Yeah, but mostly because, like, I don't know how to hold I'm very awkward in public. I don't know how to hold my hands, so I mostly stand around like this.
But here's the thing.
And I have RBF, so I mostly stand around like this.
But here's the thing. Everybody loves grandmothers.
No, they don't like me.
They like grandmothers
I like
because they
all
have
the grandmothers
candy.
I met.
Were you giving out candy?
Hell no, I was getting
Fuck
high
that
as fuck.
then.
High as fuck.
Fuck that.
High as fuck.
Oh, I have cat scratches everywhere.
Why?
Because
the
I
cat's an
have
asshole.
I have my cat is an anxious cat, so you could be petting her and like she hears a noise and she goes running across you. I literally have scratches all over. Or you're sleeping and you wake up and I'm like, fuck, there's like another scratch.
Ow.
Yeah, she's very skittish.
That's why I have dogs.
I get bites, but not as often as I used to.
So I'm just gonna share what I did this past week. My daughter went to California for soccer, and I thought I have a whole fucking week to myself. I'm gonna do like crazy shit.
Yeah, you probably
Like
did
I'm gonna
exactly
have
what I did.
fun. I'm
Yeah.
gonna get out there. And Monday night, I worked late. And I get out of work and I'm like, I'm going for a fucking pedicure, and I don't have to pay for a teenager to get one as well. Like, this is great. And so I did that, and I was super excited there. And then I'm like, so then I go home and I'm like, all right, that was fun. Tuesday I came and did the show, and I'm like, I'm gonna go do something super cool afterward, and I did. I got Wendy's.
Let me break in because I was here with you Tuesday, and I want to tell you, as I was driving home, I felt terrible because she asked me if I wanted to go to dinner, and I actually had some things I had to take care of because I hadn't done
I
it.
tried.
I felt so bad driving home, and I
It's okay.
seriously considered
I took my
turning
Wendy's
around
home.
and coming back.
I took my Wendy's home and ate it with my cats.
So you basically did what I do when my son goes.
Wednesday, but all of those were the same. At one point, my mom did give me her vape pen because I keep meaning to go get CBD oil, and I haven't yet. So she had given that to me and she told me what to do. So one night I'm like, all right, I'm home alone. I'm gonna
Gonna get high?
give this pen a high. I'm gonna give this pen a try. So I'm gonna use my mom's weed. Yes.
So different than me
I'm
storing my
gonna-
dad's weed for him.
Gonna smoke my mom's weed. And so I burned the fuck out of my throat because apparently I didn't know how to do it right.
Now, coughed a lung up.
Coughed a lung up like no tomorrow. Then I thought I'd do it again. And actually that night I was supposed to go out and like meet somebody. But then I just laid in bed with my eyes like this. And I'm like, I'm perfectly fine. Like I can still go.
Like,
And
I can't feel any of my body parts, but
I'm like, I'm super relaxed. This is because I use CBD oil, but I use it without THC. So I just use it for the, it helps with my anxiety. And so I actually have been very anxious because I have a few work things going on and it's like kicking up. Like I even came in here tonight and I'm talking a mile a minute and I'm like, I'm going to warn you guys, like my anxiety is at a high and, you know, I'm not going to shut the fuck up. So I totally thought it would help and it did. Again, it's the same experience I've had in the past other than the addition of the burning throat. My eyes close and I drool. Like there's nothing.
That's sort of what I did on Saturday.
There's nothing.
I mean, I kind
like
of moved around and drooled a little.
I didn't even. So Friday night, I had multiple options for plans, right? Multiple things I could do. Like multiple people were like, "Hey, let's go out. Let's do this." Someone else was having a pool party. I'm like, "Yeah, I'm gonna swing by after." But then I had to, my daughter came back, so I picked her up, and then I'm like, I have to go out, but I knew I had to make a call at 3:30 a.m. for work. And I'm like, if I chance going out, I know, if you knew what I did. And the facilities I work with run 24/7 and the shifts start.
Gotcha.
Okay. So I'm like, I can't really go out, and if I go and I
could just see you making a work call from the sex club.
Right. Well, I had to do it once at 4:30 a.m. on a Saturday after a night at Crave. And I had
stayed up and stayed drunk?
Essentially. And I just remember like just looking at my phone being like, dial the right one. And I had to call a facility. I'm like, make sure I'm looking. It's the right one. I'm like, hi. Like, be cool. So anyway, I'm like, so I'm not going to chance it. And I'm also afraid I'll pass out and not wake up, or like be so tired I'll fall asleep and not wake up, and it's urgent, you know? And so I did go out finally Saturday night, but not until really late. And we couldn't stay out too long because then he had work. And so I did post photos of that, though, on my Instagram just to share of what I look like when I went out on a date. So if you're curious, go to my Facebook, Toxie O'Shea. No, my Instagram, Toxie O'Shea. But anyway, that was it. So my week that I was going to go fucking nuts and like just do whatever I wanted, I got Wendy's one night. Laid around with my cats. I was even like, I'm going to watch these fucking series on HBO. None of that.
Watch all the porn and masturbate 24/7.
Right. I mean, I did watch porn once and masturbate, but just once.
Speaking of porn
Not
and
when I was
masturbating, let's talk about your chicken and dickin'.
Oh, it was just a meme. The meme is, I'm too old for Netflix and chill, so let's get some KFC and fuck. You know, chicken and dickin'. It was just a meme. It was funny.
Which is awesome. By the way, Bree just hopped in.
Hi, Bree.
And Bree, since you're in chat, give us the dates of your upcoming event. I want to hear about it.
We only have like
A few
7
minutes.
So why don't we talk about upcoming stuff?
So this past weekend was NAFA. They had their 50th annual event this past weekend here in Vegas. And I have to say that one of the girls that we haven't had her on the show yet, but I was going to ask her tonight, and I'm like, no, I know we're going to want to hear about you shitting in the woods. That's disappointing.
I pissed at a rest area in Denver.
So whatever. I'm like, snakes and blah, blah, blah. Like, you're going to have some great stories. No,
There
you
was a
almost
snake.
died.
I have a snake story. Oh, wait, I have an almost died story, too.
So I thought maybe we'll see if she'll come in next week. But it's a woman in the community who does Zumba, and she's plus size, and she did it for a plus size group at the event. We have Breeze coming up July 22nd to the 28th at Samstown. Breeze, BRIES, popupparty.com. I'm certain we'll be there. Right, Bree? I'm certain we'll be there.
And then right before that...
Right before that, we have Stu's event, Excellence Plus. And we will, and I just confirmed this past week, we'll be broadcasting that Saturday night by the pool. Our little favorite, spot there where you'll catch us. And I also started looking for those booty shorts so I can have, you weren't here, but I'm going to wear some Sin City Bounty booty shorts for these pool events.
She's going to... Her booty will be advertising our show.
Right.
I'm down for that.
Yeah.
So, But we definitely want to broadcast from Bree's event as well, which we always love doing. So
Crave is doing parties.
Crave is doing the pre-party, and the pre-party is on the 21st, and it is at, I really like the location. It's at Ninja Karaoke downtown. So Crave totally is doing the pre-party, and even though it's a school night, I will go there because I love the location, but of course also because we love our Crave girls. So,
And I
will
slept
be
off
there.
and forgot to message Jacob to see if he was doing the pre-party for Stu's.
so find out
normally does.
what Jakey Poo's doing, if he'll be out here for it. So I will say, guys, if you go to Jacob's Plush page on Instagram, Plush BBW, is it?
I believe so.
He has a lot of photos on there from times of past, and there is a photo that we are in, and it was actually before, it's tagged to Sin City Bounty, but it's before I was even on the show. I probably just plopped at a table with you guys. I looked like I had been sweating.
You should read.
But it was, oh yeah, I'll go back and do that. I downloaded an app to repost. On my Instagram, Toxie O'Shea, so follow me. I also just shared Add a Positivity project. I just reshared a post from them. I don't think I did too well. Like, I missed some of the tags, but I'm going to go back and
It
do
should have copied everything
Jacob's.
for you. And
It
you just
didn't.
paste.
That's what I thought it would do, and it didn't copy all the wording. So
We'll probably have to get you another app then.
okay, you'll have to show me what to do with that. How do I get some of those booty shorts? I'm not sure yet. I've been Googling. I was looking at some on Amazon.
We're talking about maybe a Teespring or some
Right.
kind of T-shirt account for shirts and other logoed items. But she's got to find the booty shorts from one of those places first.
We'll
They'll
do
fit
some
my booty.
iron-on lettering.
I'm actually thinking of getting, because I have this pair that looks super cute on me, but I'll get another one for this. A pair of swim bottoms that are boy shorts, and they do look super cute. I actually, speaking of the Add a Positivity project, when I posed for it, the one time I did it with the boy shorts and a sports bra in one of my photos, and so they were the cutest. So I might find a pair of those and see if we could get it printed. But it'll all have the same effect.
Can you mark this time right here, Johnny? And I want you to superimpose our logo on the back here, because when we get them, we're going to design it so that the belly button of the center girl is right
Is on my
at your
asshole?
butthole.
Are you talking about the logo that we start the show with?
Our 3-girl logo.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you just need a still? I can send you a still.
Send it to
Yeah,
me.
it's the
Okay.
curvy. It's the women who all have boobs.
Yeah.
Boobs and bellies.
Boobs and bellies.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so you're right. I'm going to have to put that middle
No
belly
worries.
button right on the asshole. So,
Okay.
Thanks.
You send it tonight.
I'll send it tonight.
Culamundo.
sweet.
Where are we at? Like 2 minutes?
Yeah.
Dos minutos.
2 minutos.
What else did we have going on?
We had Crapping in the Woods, events.
420. I'm getting high next week. Come and watch.
Yeah, if
Oh,
you're interested in coming
if
as
you're
well.
interested in being in studio with us, just send us a message on Toxie O'Shea's Instagram.
Which means you have to follow me.
You can send it to our Facebook page. You can send it to our email. Can't guarantee you'll get them all. We'll read them because we get a lot of messages on our Sin City Bounty
Oh!
Facebook page.
Really quick, I learned last night at 1 a.m. that on Instagram, you can fucking video dial somebody just like you can on Facebook Messenger.
Somebody video dial you?
Yeah!
Somebody video dialed you?
Yes!
It's some shit. You
Assholes.
should be able to turn it off.
I don't know how to turn it off, but it was at, the exact time was, oh wait, no, it shows on my regular calls, but it shows Instagram thing.
Oh, that's insane.
It show here, Instagram video, 12:41 a.m.
Wow.
No, fuck that
And who
noise.
it's from. Don't be fucking
1 minute.
Instagram videoing people. I didn't even know it was an option. Scared the shit out of me. So, God.
I think what's funny is when people Facebook butt dial me.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I've Facebook butt dialed some people before.
That's crazy.
Because that button is right next to another button that you got to hit, and
Oh,
so sometimes
true.
you hit it on accident without meaning to.
The only news I have is my mom got an iPhone, and she's mad
Why?
because someone spent $600 on an iPhone, and she loves her old piece of shit crap phone. And she's like, I don't even do all the stuff you do. I don't need a phone. So fancy. I don't know what to do with it.
I love when you do your mom.
Download like crosswords for her.
I downloaded gambling.
Oh,
There you go.
I'm Alexia,
Toxie.
And I'm Sierra.
and we will see you next week.
If you're brave enough.
Later, bitches.
Click like and subscribe, bitches.
You almost forgot, huh?
I did.